How much experience should you have as an online teacher before becoming an independent teacher requesting a higher hourly rate? Okay, so first of all, I want you guys to understand this. You need to know what determines people's willingness to pay, all right? I learned this when I was a consultant. I used to help big companies to price their products, drugs, instruments, etc. They don't just come up with a number. They do research. They need to understand their audience. So what determines people's willingness to pay is their perceived value of your service, product, not the actual value, right? It's about how they feel about your service, how they interpret, appreciate your service, how they understand your messages, that give them the perceived value of your service, which determines their willingness to pay, right? Guys, you need to understand this, okay? Understand this. The willingness to pay, how much they want to pay you, is determined by their perceived value of your service. So that means when you ask your students to make a decision to pay you, right? If you only have a website, you only have a profile, you ask them to make that decision by only looking at your profile, your website, then in that case, all your experience, degrees, certificates, reviews will be super important, because that's all they have. That's all they have when they make that decision. That's all they have to develop the perceived value of your service to help them make that decision. And the perceived value is purely determined by all the information they have on your website, on your web page profile, right? So then their willingness, then your degree, experience, certificates are gonna be super important. And what you put on the website gonna help them, gonna determine how much they want to pay, right? However, you should not just use a website to convert students, ask them to pay you. You should not just show your profile, give them some materials so that they can decide how much they want to pay you, or for you to justify how much they should pay you. They will never pay any teachers more than $50 an hour. No, listen to me. No student's gonna pay a teacher more than $50 an hour just by looking at a website or your profile or any materials you share with them. And $50 an hour is only possible, it's already high, it's only possible when you have tons of reviews, decades of experience, all the certificates, because that's how much you can justify, right? Just by giving them this information. Instead, so I told you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't just use a website to convert, okay? Instead, you should conduct sales calls with them. You need to have a one-on-one conversation with your students, with your prospects, with potential customers. This is what I called strategy session in the challenge. Just to give you some context, the strategy session, everybody from the challenge knows that. That's the sales session. Only during the strategy session, you will be able to build enough trust, help them understand why your service justifies a higher rate, and help them align their perceived value with the real value of your program, your service, so they are willing to pay you more than $50 an hour, more than $100 an hour. No, teachers underestimate sales, right? They were like, I don't want to do sales. Sure, if you only want to charge $20, $30 an hour, go ahead, do it. Get more experience on it, get more certificates. Eventually, hopefully, you can charge $50 an hour. But if you want to do more, you want to get most committed students, you want to charge a higher rate, right? You have to do sales, right? And more importantly, when students feel that you know what to do, you know what you're doing, and are convinced that you are able to help them during this strategy session, these sales calls, they don't really care much about your teaching experience anymore. They don't really care about what certificates you have anymore. They don't care about what degrees you have anymore, because they're convinced by talking to you, they know you can help them. You know what you are doing here. You are the expert for helping this niche. And then they are willing to pay you much higher, and they don't care about this anymore.